Hello everyone, I've been working on this theory about Blackbeard for a long time, and it's finally here. The final arc is approaching, the great war between factions is beginning. But what if I told you Blackbeard is the one winning this war? While everyone else has been playing checkers, Blackbeard has been playing chess. And now, he's about to make his biggest move. Let me explain who Blackbeard really is, and what his grand plan might be. Also, consider subscribing to the channel. It helps a lot with growth and keeps me motivated to bring you more. Now, let's begin. Blackbeard is a very special character, right? Even his own crewmates have pointed out that there's something unique about him. But what exactly is so special? Actually, a lot. He's easily as important to the story as Luffy. What if I told you he's the god of Earth? Yes, the god of Earth. The original one. The one who destroyed the world. What's more shocking is that Blackbeard's plans have been so deliberate, so subtle, that even I was surprised once I stepped back and looked at the full picture. And here's the craziest part of all. He's about to steal Pluton. And I'll try to walk you through this theory step by step. Stick with me. I swear it will make sense. Where this whole god theory first clicked for me was during the scene where Imu is holding bounty posters. And then later, when we saw the Harley text, we now know that there are 5 gods in One Piece. And I believe that all 5 of them, at some point in history, opposed Imu. That's why she's so desperate now, because all her enemies are beginning to gather, and she realized it too late. Look closely at the bounty image Imu is holding. Sun God, Luffy, God of the Sea, Shirahoshi. Then we have Vivi and Blackbeard remaining. What's the connection? As I explained in previous videos, the god of rain is most likely Vivi. The god of the forest is Vegapunk. So, naturally, the last remaining figure, Blackbeard, would be the god of earth. If it was just that one image, maybe it wouldn't be enough to form a solid theory. But, like every great story, let's start from the beginning. Around 5,000 years ago, during the first age of the One Piece world, the Sun God first appeared. And according to the Harley text, the god of earth became angry. What does this tell us? It means the god of earth already existed, and then the complete opposite being appeared, the Sun God. We now know that Nika is the Sun God, so the complete opposite of him? Darkness. In Japanese, that's Yami, as in Yami Yami no Mi. Light and dark, sun and earth, yin and yang. And this is where the theory starts to make real sense. Because what did the god of earth do next? According to the Harley text, he worked with the red serpent to plunge the world into darkness and destroy it. Now think about this. Both of Blackbeard's devil fruits are meant for destruction. The darkness fruit, Yami Yami no Mi, which can swallow everything into nothingness. The quake fruit, Gura Gura no Mi, which can destroy the world. Sinking the world into darkness and destroying it is literally Blackbeard's endgame. And here's where it gets deeper. According to the Harley text, the destruction was carried out with the help of the red serpent. Now, let's make an important distinction. The Harley text and the Elbaf mural are not the same thing. Remember what Ripley said about the Harley mural. It was a child's drawing, a legend retold in simple form. And this is the key. In the recent chapters, we saw children's drawings come to life, brought forth as shadowy figures through Kiringam's ability. There's a reason Oda focused so much on children's drawings, and why he emphasized that the Harley text was drawn by a child. Have you ever thought about how a child might draw something they don't understand? They fill in the unknown with shapes and symbols. For example, if you told a child about a virus, they might draw it as a spiky monster, or maybe just scribbles with a scary face. And if the thing feels big, magical, or terrifying, they might exaggerate it. Dark colors for fear, huge shapes to show importance, oversized eyes or mouths to express emotion or power. So here's the question. If a child wanted to draw the ancient weapons, something they couldn't truly comprehend, but had only heard described in legends. How would they draw them? The answer is big, disproportionate, dark, with exaggerated monstrous features, and those three big shadowy shapes we see in the ancient Elbaf mural. They're not just symbols, they are the ancient weapons. And this one, right here, is Pluton. Let me tell you why. We've seen another depiction of the ancient weapons before, when Enel went to the moon and explored the ancient murals there. In that scene, we clearly see three different weapons. One of them is Uranus. The two below are Poseidon and Pluton. And again, they are depicted in a cartoonish, exaggerated style. Why? Because even for the people on the moon, or the ones living on sky islands, it would be difficult to imagine what the ancient weapons truly looked like. So they drew them based on myth, not reality. So now we have two depictions of Pluton, one in the ancient moon mural, and another in the Elbaf mural. Both depict a huge, snake-like creature, a being of unimaginable destructive power, a weapon so powerful it can obliterate entire islands. Now let's shift gears to the D. We've often been told that the D in names means nothing. Remember when Sabo asked Luffy what the D stands for? Luffy admitted he didn't know. He even joked that Sabo could be called Sadebo if he wanted. But what if the D does have meaning? Luffy is named after monkey, as in Hanuman, the Hindu monkey god, who once mistakenly ate the sun. If Luffy's name has symbolic meaning, then maybe Blackbeard's name does too. The ancient kingdom was the most advanced civilization in history, and the ancient weapons? They were forged by that kingdom. If these weapons were part of their arsenal, someone back then had to control them. Someone had access to their blueprints, power sources, or command structure. Now let's apply that logic to Blackbeard. If he's the god of Earth, then his name makes perfect sense. Marshal Ditich. Let's break it down. Marshal is a military title, often the highest military rank. Pluton, based on Frankie's description, is the most destructive ancient weapon, capable of leveling entire islands. In today's One Piece world, what we call the Third Age, technology and information are mere shadows of what existed in the First Age. Something or someone destroyed that first world. So, when people from that era tried to describe this weapon, what word would they use? A serpent of fire, a monstrous, devastating force. And here's something symbolic. When Frankie burned the blueprints of Pluton, what did he use? Fire. Just like the serpent of fire from the Harley text, used to erase the world once before. But if it were just this, I wouldn't bother making a whole theory video. What makes this really interesting is how it all lines up with Blackbeard's actual plans and actions in the story. Stick with me. This is where things start to get wild. We know for a fact that Blackbeard wants to destroy the world. He literally says it when he's in a frenzy of power, screaming about how he'll destroy everything. And we know from the Harley text that the god of Earth did exactly that. With the help of the Red Serpent, he plunged the world into darkness and destroyed it. Everything Blackbeard has done so far is part of a clear, militarized agenda. He's been hunting devil fruits to distribute among his titanic captains. Jesus Burgess was spying on the Revolutionary Army to steal weapons. Lafitte has been quietly observing the celestial dragons and Marijoa. And recently, Katarina Devon made contact with the now deceased Saint Saturn. And we all know what that means. She can now transform into him using her devil fruit. But all of this, every plan, every setup, would mean nothing without one final piece. One ultimate goal. Frankie once said it himself. Only an ancient weapon can stand against another ancient weapon. There is no power in the One Piece world stronger than them, not even devil fruits. And just like in the first world, Blackbeard's next move is to obtain Pluton. Now let's talk about Wano. That's where Pluton is. Wano is directly inspired by Japan. Its samurais, its architecture, its food, even its map layout. And like real-world Japan during the Edo period, Wano is a closed country. For 300 years, Japan remained isolated, until the arrival of Commodore Matthew C. Perry, who came sailing in on the black ships and forced Japan to open its borders. Perry wore a naval uniform very similar to what Blackbeard and Shiryu wear. He had a reputation for chain-smoking cigars, drinking whiskey, and eating steak, just like Shiryu. Both Perry and Blackbeard arrived on black ships. They came with diplomacy and power, and Japan had no choice but to comply. Only a few people in the world know the truth about Pluton's location, and one of them is Caribou. He overheard the entire conversation between the Straw Hats, Momonosuke, and others about Pluton. And guess who just happened to show up? Katarina Devon and Van Auger on Egghead Island. And they took Caribou with them. We can safely assume that Caribou, the Blackbeard fanboy that he is, told them everything he knows, including the secret of Pluton. And let's be honest, Blackbeard's entire career has been built on stealing. He stole the Yami Yami no Mi from the crewmate. He stole Whitebeard's territory and power. He stole a position as a Shichibukai. And now, he's going after Pluton. In many ways, Blackbeard is one of the only characters in One Piece who actually feels like a real pirate. And that's not surprising. He's directly inspired by the real-world Blackbeard, down to the name, beard, hat, and guns. There's also a strong theory that Blackbeard is a buccaneer. And honestly, I totally agree. His body is disproportionate. Huge belly, skinny limbs. He recovers quickly from injuries. He shows insane durability. All traits we've seen in buccaneers. And remember, many real-world buccaneers were former slaves who rebelled against their oppressors. That lines up perfectly with the buccaneers of One Piece, who have a similar origin and tragic history. So, if Blackbeard is based on the real-world Blackbeard styled after a buccaneer, focused entirely on plundering, stealing, and domination, then it makes total sense that his next move would be to steal Pluton, and like Commander Perry, arrive in Wano on a black ships. And remember, Luffy has already declared 2 territories for himself: Wano, where Pluton is located, Fishman Island, where Poseidon, the mermaid princess Shirahoshi, lives. It's all coming full circle. One thing is certain, Blackbeard knows about both ancient weapons, Poseidon and Pluton. But let's be honest, he wouldn't dare attack Fishman Island right now. There's a marine base nearby, and a war is literally brewing above it. It's far too risky, that's why Wano makes a much safer target. And do you remember how Usopp's lies always come true? He lied about pirates coming to Syrup Village, and they did. He lied about the giant goldfish, and we saw one in Little Garden. He lied about the land of little people, and it turned out to be real. And one more prediction about Cerberus. Now think about this. Cerberus is the 3-headed hound of the underworld, closely tied to Hades and Pluton. And who in One Piece has the most Cerberus-like symbolism? Blackbeard has 3 skulls on his Jolly Roger. He may possess multiple souls or entities. He has multiple devil fruits. He's constantly associated with darkness, death, and the underworld. Usopp's Cerberus prophecy is almost too accurate to ignore. Cerberus equals Blackbeard. So, where does that bring us? Blackbeard's next big move will be an attack on Wano to steal Pluton. And in case you missed it, in my last video I talked about Vivi's connection to Pluton. How it makes perfect sense for her to go to Wano. She's currently on the run from the world government. Where else would she go? Wano is not under world government control, declared the territory of the Straw Hats, the resting place of Pluton. And there's one more subtle clue. Oda once drew an official sketch showing Karoo, Vivi's duck, holding a leashed black dog. Many fans overlooked it, but it's right there. Could this be symbolic? Karoo, Vivi. Black dog, Blackbeard. Leash, control, fate, or rivalry. They both hold titles as gods. Their paths are destined to cross, and I believe Wano is where it happens. Now, here's the final piece tying it all together. Why do I believe Blackbeard is the god of Earth? Well, we've already covered the Harley text. Pluton connections. Imu holding his picture among the other gods. But there's one more layer. All the gods of One Piece seem to be symbolically tied to the brightest stars in the night sky. There are 5 gods, and here's what we've seen so far. Vegapunk, god of the forest, associated with Uranus and the 5th brightest star, Vega. Shirahoshi, god of the sea. She literally translates to white star, in Japanese, Shirahoshi. She's linked to Canopus, the white giant and 2nd brightest star. Vivi, god of rain, tied to Pluton and to Arcturus' 4th brightest star. And now, the one remaining name among Imu's bounty photos, the only one left, is Blackbeard. But for Blackbeard, it would make perfect sense to be connected to Alpha Centauri. Remember his deep association with the number 3? Even Marco commented that Blackbeard's body was not normal, and the Straw Hats referred to him as them. Well, Alpha Centauri is the 3rd brightest star in the night sky. And more importantly, it's made up of 3 stars. Just like Blackbeard is implied to have 3 personalities or entities. There's Alpha Centauri A, Alpha Centauri B, and the less obvious one, Proxima Centauri, a small red dwarf, the closest star to the Sun. And it's that 3rd faint star, Proxima, that represents Blackbeard's hidden nature. Even symbolically, it fits. Alpha Centauri A and B orbit one another closely, bound by gravity, just like Blackbeard, who ranted to Ace about how he controls gravity using his black hole powers. The celestial movement mirrors his chaotic gravitational pull, literally and thematically. There's even deeper symbolism here. The name Centauri comes from centaur, a mythical creature that's half beast, half human. That could explain Blackbeard's abnormal body and why he's able to wield multiple devil fruits. We know Yami Yami no Mi is Logia, Gura Gura no Mi is Paramecia, and the 3rd devil fruit he's speculated to possess is likely Zoan, completing the trio. He even left the famous scar on Shanks, something no ordinary pirate could do. And there's more. Alpha Centauri is the closest star to the Sun, bright enough that it could be mistaken for false sunlight. Remember when Whitebeard said that Roger was waiting for someone, but it wasn't him? Many fans believe that meant Blackbeard is the false sun, the shadow twin of Joy Boy. If Luffy is Nika, the sun god, then Blackbeard is the one who mimics the light, but brings only darkness. So, Alpha Centauri reflects Blackbeard's identity as the god of Earth. It's closest to Earth. It's bound by gravity. And it symbolizes false illumination and hidden chaos. Even the word Alpha connects with Blackbeard's dream, to be king of the world. And when it comes to Blackbeard, his black hole ability, Yami Yami no Mi, is literally the power to pull everything into the abyss and possibly destroy the world, just like the Earth god of ancient times. So, while I couldn't find an exact astrophysical connection to black holes and Alpha Centauri, the connection to Blackbeard's power, presence, and destiny is too strong to ignore. Like I said, I've been meaning to make this video ever since the Harley text dropped. It never felt like the right time. And, honestly, this theory could have been split into several separate videos. The connections run that deep. If this video does well, maybe I'll turn it into a full extended breakdown in the future. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with Blackbeard being tied to the god of Earth, Pluton, and Alpha Centauri? I've seen other Blackbeard theories out there, but I feel like this one gives them all a unifying flow and helps make sense of the bigger picture. Let me know in the comments. I read every single one and try to reply to as many as I can. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.